All right, thanks for tuning in. We are so excited to have you here joining us today on our LifeVantage Activation Nation podcast. Welcome to all of our listeners, and especially welcome to our guest today, Amber White. We have joining us from Indiana. She is an EC1 here at LifeVantage. We got to hear from her a little bit at our global convention a couple of months ago. And we're just excited to be able to hear from Amber again today. She's going to share some great things with us. So, welcome, Amber. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel very special and privileged to be asked. So thank you.
Oh, of course. Well, we're thrilled that you're here and able to join us. We know that it's a busy, crazy time. We've got a lot of things going on. So I'm grateful that you were able to join us. She just shared she's just running off of the baseball field to hop on with us. And so got all the things happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Always busy.
All right. Well, Amber, let's just jump in and kind of talk about the topic today of why we're here. So, I just have to ask you, I've heard a little bit, like I said, Amber joined us on stage at convention, which was absolutely amazing. You did such a fantastic job and shared a piece of this. And I, kind of heard through the grapevine other things, but the little bit that I have heard, you have such an amazing personal story and such a strong why um, that has to do, of course, with personal things and also business. And it's just so inspiring. Would you mind sharing just a little bit of that with our listeners?
Of my story.
Yeah, and
Yes.
just your why, your inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been in the fitness and health field and industry and just really always been on that next hustle and grind. And about 6 years
Mhm.
ago, something crazy happened. We had twins, and I was kind of forced to be at a complete halt in my company and my industry that I was in. And honestly, I was really looking for something that I could do that allowed me to be home more, allowed more flexibility, more time for my family and for myself. And but really was a vehicle to create more profits, because in the fitness industry, I felt never ahead financially. I was always trading time for dollars, truly, and never really felt ahead. And so I was looking for, how can I be a present mom, a present parent, have more fun, more flexibility, not living to other people's schedules and paychecks. And this really
Mhm.
just kind of found me at that time. And really, that's been my why going forward. I started just at a dire urgency for income. I had to close down my fitness company and I needed a source of money, right? And so, but
Yeah,
with twins and all
absolutely.
the chaos, I couldn't go anywhere. I had to do something flexible. So that was my why to begin with. And then it just began to evolve into a
Mm.
bigger vision, a bigger why, and a bigger mission.
So tell me a little bit more about that. How do you feel like that has evolved? You mentioned the word like you feel like it's evolved over time from that, okay, this is really a financial situation with the restrictions, that you
Mhm.
had as far as time and availability. But what has that evolved into over time?
Yeah. So at the beginning, it was um, very chaotic. And um, sometimes I'm like, I don't even remember how I did what I did, but it was because I had a need, a drastic need. And then that
Yeah.
really just evolved to, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable now financially, but I still had this burning desire, because that was my passion, to really help people. And then, it was, okay, I can see that it's like a game. Like I've unlocked this level, right? And now I see a little bit further in the next
Mhm.
level. And now I have, okay, now I can afford vacations for our family. Okay, now I can afford, more travel or extracurricular things. And it just started to unlock, I guess, these different avenues. And then it unlocked more of like the true community aspect of what we have here, to where not only personally have I grown into a completely different person for the better than I was 6 years ago, but just a completely different circle of people, completely different community, um, that really just empower each and every one of us to be the best versions of ourselves for our
Yeah.
families and for whatever mission that we're on in life. I mean, everybody's is a little bit different, but we all kind of
Mhm.
have the same mission, I would say, of what we're doing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it's evolved a little bit, is really opened the door into, I would say, like the next realm, right? Of like what's next for Amber.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's moved from, oh, this kind of need or almost, kind of frantic, like, "I've gotta figure something out," right? And we've all been there. We've all been in that space where you're going, "Oh, okay, I've got this situation here, and I've gotta figure out how to solve it."
Mhm.
And provided some things for you that maybe you didn't even expect necessarily in the beginning, but, created some space, and things for you and your family that, were kind of extras,
Yeah.
and, moved even to maybe an unexpected space of, like you mentioned, that community and, some personal growth, things that you weren't even looking for necessarily or planning on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought
Fair.
I knew it all on what I was doing, and I thought personally wise, I thought I was good, right? I didn't really know a ton about like personal growth and um really raising your level of frequency or mindset. And that just wasn't true. Like I had to really let that all down
Yeah.
to really unlock that next level.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I know that, there's a lot that goes into from that beginning stages of, okay, I'm looking for something and I'm needing something, and, the door opens to LifeVantage, and you decide to go ahead and jump into that, to
Mhm.
where you're at today. So let's kind of talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot that goes into that, right? And it is, as we all know, it is not a easy thing. It can be because it's enjoyable,
Mhm.
um, but it also it takes work, and it's a lot of fun along the way. But, we talk a lot here about consistency, and we talk a lot about business and of course, our amazing products, but we know that consistency is really, really key to,
Mhm.
this business and getting to EC1 where you've gotten. What do you feel like, and you've done, by the way, a really great job with that, Amber, and, we hear that a lot, like, with her team and different people that she works with, that you have to balance a lot of things, and that you tend to manage that really well. How do you feel like you're able to stay consistent in your efforts with your business
Mhm.
and with your family and personal
Yeah.
life? And what do you do when challenges arise to kind of keep that going and see the success that you have? Like, how have you managed to, what are some things that have helped you to manage doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, at the beginning, it's very chaotic, like that
Yeah.
scramble of I don't have time. I don't
Yeah.
have money, which is why I'm here.
Yep.
And I have complete chaos at home. And
Mhm.
so how do you make that work? Well, I just grew up in a family where you figure it out,
Yeah.
honestly. And I think that's really helped me in this, of just that. grit, that stick to itness, and figuring it out. Even if it's just a little bit every
Mhm.
day, that's where that consistency matters. And so, if you heard it on stage, I talked a little bit about, I used to put the twins in the bath so that I could just have 30 minutes to be on my phone, or I would just multitask of everything, right? I used nothing as an excuse. Now,
Mhm.
granted, of course, you have those days where it's like, you just want to vent to somebody, which is totally fine. But pivoting and picking yourself up from that to say, like, yes, have those feelings, have those thoughts, but it's not an excuse not to do what you're meant to do or what you
Mhm.
want to do. And so I really had to be very coachable. I had to learn to be very vocal in kind of maybe what I was feeling or the barriers I was coming against, or, things at home, or that time management aspect, which I didn't do a good job of at first.
Mhm.
Um, so it was really just learning, like, every day, do something that is going to be beneficial for your business. And that doesn't mean scrolling, right? That doesn't mean, um, it doesn't mean a lot of things. It means what daily methods of operation are going to generate you either planting seeds, a conversation, or something in the way of income or growing your business. And so just reminding myself that daily. It evolved into actual time management probably about 2 years ago. So, granted, my first 4 years was complete chaos, no time management. Um, but it became very necessary
Yeah.
because my kids were getting older. They were in multiple sports. We were doing multiple things, multiple animal things, like all over, to where it's like, okay, I have to set myself time, and you have to
Yeah.
be okay with the boundaries that you set and the time that you set for yourself in your business, to where, just because someone responds outside of those maybe working hours doesn't mean that you have to get to them right away.
I
And
love that.
so
Yes.
being
So
okay
true.
with those time management and those boundaries, so that
Yeah.
you don't get burnt out, you don't get overwhelmed, you don't get overconsumed um with all the things that you do have to manage,
Mhm.
and reminding yourself, like, write out your daily list, right? Like, um 2 years ago, I think Josie Tong said, I write out my daily to-dos the night before I go to bed. This is what I have to do, so that when I get up or whenever my office opens, I know what I need to do, and I set a timer to get that done. And so
Mm.
it's just those really simple, basic things that truly we all should have learned a long time ago, but it's putting them into practice and being very intentional and very due diligent in those working hours or in that working space.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think
always
that
think,
you
yeah,
hit on that. That is so key. Just like what you said
yeah,
is, being really intentional and actually there it's such simple things, but actually putting it into play
yeah,
can sometimes be
absolutely.
the most challenging piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking your business, I think of my business here as if it was an actual brick and mortar business. Like, if
Yeah.
I didn't show up, like, I would go out of business, right? So I really put that into play in my business. Like, even if I'm on vacation, I'm still showing up. And that's the beauty of it. I can show up, right? Even though I'm having a fun family vacation. Um, so it's that mindset of when you truly start to think of this as the business that it is or can be, then those other factors really start to put themselves into play of action, time management, consistency.
Mhm. I love that, and I have to say, so there's a couple things that you said that I think that, that really stand out. Number 1, and I think this is something that all of us have to remind ourselves all the time, is not every day is perfect. There
Mm.
are some days where you're just gonna go, "I feel so overwhelmed. I can't do this. I've got to," and it's okay to take a minute.
Mhm.
And like you said, sit with those feelings and acknowledge that they're there and that it's okay,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then move on.
Yeah.
And
And voice
but
them to somebody. Voice them
yes,
out. Yes.
Absolutely. Find that person that you can voice those to, and that not maybe it's somebody that just will listen, maybe it's somebody that will listen and give you a few tips, or,
Mm.
validate how you're feeling. And sometimes that's just all it takes. That's all
Yeah,
we need. And
absolutely.
then, really advocating for yourself, having a voice at advocating for yourself, and, setting those boundaries.
Mhm. Yes.
So I wanna to kind of touch on that, because I think that that's a really tough thing for a lot of people, is, setting, and it plays into the time management like you talked about, of setting those boundaries when it comes to your business. Because, as you know, when you have an at-home business, it sometimes is really tough to step away from, and it also can be really tough to pay attention to. It's really easy to really go one way or the other,
Mhm.
of forgetting about your personal life and the things that are going on there and taking time for yourself. And it
Yep.
also can be really easy to not pay a lot of attention to your business, and, not give it what it needs. And like you said, you made the comment, you try to treat it like a brick and mortar,
Mhm.
business, that if you didn't show up, it would go out of business,
Right.
which I love that. But how have you found, and you said it's taken you some years. It didn't happen overnight. It took a little bit of time. But what are some specific things that you've done to really try to keep that healthy balance of the 2?
Yeah. So I think something I've done right from the very beginning was sharing with my kids that this is my business,
Mhm.
that I thankfully don't have to go out of the house if I don't want to. But this is my business. So if I say I'm working, that means I'm working. That means I will address whatever you need in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Or I used to set a timer. Okay, girls, when this timer goes off, I'll be available. When this show is done, I'll be available. Um, Especially if you're a kind of a solo mom with kids, it can be very hard because kids want something right away, right? Like they want something right away. But I just had to be a big advocate for myself. I had to not let mom guilt set in. I had to not let anybody else dictate how I was going to parent my kids and run my business at the same time.
Mhm.
And I really had to set the tone for that. And so they know, like, okay, yeah, okay, mom's doing something for work. Like, yes, I want this right now. And I'll probably whine and ask about it. But in reality, I know that she's working. Like right now, they're all sitting on the couch. And I said, I am going to do this podcast for a minute. After this, we're going to do whatever we need to do. So letting your kids be involved and sharing with them what you are doing. Like,
Yeah.
I just made
Creating
it,
those, like, really clear
yeah,
expectations, right?
very
Of
clear.
Mhm.
Like on vacation, hey, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to work for an hour. You guys get yourself breakfast. I'll help you get breakfast, whatever it is, right? Watch something for a minute, and then we will leave. But I'm going to do this for 1 hour. And you yourself have to be committed to doing that. The entire month of July, we've been gone on
Yeah.
vacation. But did I stop working ever? Like any day? No, because it's
Yeah.
important just because you're on vacation or gone or out of town or whatever it is, you still have to run your business if you want it to still work.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm guessing, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about this, but I'm guessing you've had to do something probably very similar with your team, of
Mm.
really setting clear expectations. What does that look like?
Yes. So thankfully, we have phenomenal systems in place, which are huge. And I know even just LifeVantage Corporation, like, even has great systems in place now for anybody to come in and truly
Mhm.
figure it out for themselves if they needed to.
Mhm.
Um, Thankfully, our team has great plug and play systems where I can say, hey, do this today or go watch this today, report back to me or whatever it is, right? Um, I let my team know that I have, working hours. Here's what they are. I will respond to you whenever, we can set up calls or just send me a message. But if I don't respond right away, here it is. I think
Mm.
it's not feeling guilty that
Yeah.
you can't be available 24/7, and showing my team that I don't expect them to be available 24/7. Like, that's not what this business is about, because this is about to have more time, to have more fun, to have more, you know, flexibility and things like that. Um,
Yeah.
so, and I always stick to day one. What did I do on day one? And teach my team, what did you do on day one? Those are still the very important tasks to do, no matter what rank you are, I feel like, or where
Absolutely.
you are. It's, what did you do on day one? It's very easy to forget what you did on day one.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's always reminding myself, like, I feel like like an athlete, right? Like, to get better, you always have to remind yourself of the basics. You always have to practice the basics, and you always have to retrain yourself on the basics. And that's what this is in this business as well, because those
Abs-
basic skills will empower other people to be leaders, will empower other people to step up, will empower other people to grow. Um, and they will get you to your growth factor as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you said it's like athletes.
Yes.
An athlete could never expect to stay in shape without doing anything.
Yeah.
Right, without constantly using those muscles and reminding those muscles and things like that, and it's the same with business. We have to be consistently, using those skills and doing the basics, the things, to keep those things strong
Yep.
and growing. So I like that analogy. Thanks for sharing that. Well, Amber, I have loved everything that you shared, and I am so grateful that you are here with us today. If there was maybe one or two things that you would want to share with somebody, let's say that is new in the business or just getting started, and or somebody that's struggling to keep it going and
Mhm.
wanting to grow, what's something that you would share with them that you've learned?
Yeah, I would say, especially for the new person, it really is, you know, keep it so simple, but two, be very direct. Um,
Mhm.
the reason you joined will be the reason someone else joins. And so don't be fearful to share why you joined. Don't be fearful to share your story, because that alone will be the reason someone else joins.
Mm.
Um, I think a lot of people, they they join because either they had a great health story, or they need more finances. And
Yeah.
then they get fearful to think that no one else will want to join for those reasons either, or
Mhm.
those reasons alone. And so it's reminding people, hey, why did you join? Why did you say yes? Well, that
Yeah.
is the exact reason why you're going to share this with someone else, or why someone else is going to say yes. So write those things down, look at them daily, right? I think it's very easy to forget very quickly either why we started, where we started, or where we came from. And we
Yeah.
have to remind ourselves of those, because those will be the reasons that someone else starts and someone else takes that step.
And it's hard to remember that, like you said. It's hard to remember when it's been a little bit to remember that, oh, somebody else, there are other people that are feeling or needing what I did at back then. There are people today that are
Yeah,
looking for that.
absolutely. And
Rather it health
even if you're
challenge.
brand yeah, so sorry. But even if you're brand new, I see it all the time. They're brand new. You get started because you need extra money.
Mhm.
And then you think that, well, nobody else needs extra money.
Yeah.
Well, you get started because you needed extra money. So I guarantee you there are other people that feel the same way that you did. And
Yeah.
so it's really just, I have everybody write it down, write it down, write it down, look at it, see it, and then share
Yeah.
it. That's it.
And don't be afraid. That's such a big
Absolutely.
piece. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We tend to
There's
get in
always,
our own.
yeah, you're right. Get in your head. There's always people that are going to say crazy things, silly things, put you down or whatever. And you just have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
just have to be okay with that. You're not going to change people's minds. You just have to be okay with that. And those just aren't your people.
yeah. Well, Amber, thank you so much for sharing some of those great words of wisdom. And, I think anyone listening can really just feel the genuineness from you. And just, you're so relatable. So thanks so much for sharing some of your
Oh,
story with us today and some of your words of wisdom with us. We're very grateful.
you're
And
a little
congrats
person.
on all of your success. And I know it will just continue because, you've created some really great, systems and different things that you've put in place. So, congrats, and
Thank you
hope
so much.
we will hear from you again soon.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Thanks, Amber. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye, LifeVantage and Activation Nation, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Activation Nation podcast. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for future episodes and updates, and share with a friend or prospect that you think could benefit from today's conversation. Check the episode description for any links or disclaimers, and we'll see you next week for another episode. And now, the legal stuff. The sales earnings disclosed are potential gross earnings and do not account for expenses incurred in building a business. The average 12-month earnings of a typical U.S. consultant who earned in 2024 are $683. LifeVantage does not guarantee any income or rank success. A consultant's earnings will depend on individual diligence, work effort, and market conditions. Visit the LifeVantage Income Disclosure Statement for more information.